This is the budding light of hope and knowledge, the delight of Sri Prakash Educational Institutions, spreading academic brilliance in all directions.
Namaste students, I am D. Lovaraju, PGT in Chemistry. The presentation focuses on the learning outcomes and in-depth explanation of the topic.
The topic is solid state, and the learning outcomes are states of matter, types of solids, types of crystalline solids, and importance of the crystalline solids. We are mostly surrounded by solids, and we use them more often than liquids and gases. For different applications, we need solids with widely different properties. These properties depend upon the nature of the constituent particles and the binding forces operating between them. Therefore, study of the structure of solids is important. We know that liquids and gases are called fluids because of their ability to flow and due to free movement of particles, whereas in solids the particles have fixed positions. Solid state is one of the states of matter. Solids properties are completely different when compared with gases and liquids. Solids have the ability to resist any force that is applied to its surface due to its close arrangement of atoms or molecules. Matter, on the basis of the forces of attraction between the constituent particles such as atoms, ions or molecules, exist in three different physical states, namely gaseous state, liquid state and solid state. You know that the constituent particles in gases and liquids are held together by relatively weak forces of attraction as compared to those in solids. As a consequence, they can translate randomly, rotate and vibrate. Gases and liquids, thus they can flow and they can take the shape of the container. On the other hand, solids are incompressible. The constituent particles in solids are held together by a strong force of attraction. In other words, the constituent particles are closely packed. However, these particles can still vibrate about their fixed mean position. Solids possess some characteristic properties attributed to their closed packing. They have a definite shape and volume, inability to flow, incompressible and rigid. In general, the distinct properties of three different states can be attributed to the arrangement of constituent particles. In other words, any change in the arrangement to these constituent particles changes the physical state of a substance. In turn, the arrangement of the constituent particles in a particular substance depends upon the external conditions of temperature and pressure. For example, at 1 atmosphere pressure, water in liquid state gets converted into a solid form at 0 degrees Celsius. Also, the molecules lose their translatory moment and rotatory moment, and they can only oscillate about the fixed mean position. Thus, the molecules of the liquid attain the molecular arrangement of the solid. Let's take a quick look at how the structure and properties of a solid are correlated to one another. The nature of the constituent particles, the force of attraction between them, and their arrangement together determine the structure of particular substance. The properties of any solid substance ultimately depends on the structure. Hence, any change in the structure of the substance changes its properties. For example, the conductivity of silicon increases with the addition of impurity such as arsenic. So, a solid with desired properties can be prepared by altering its structure. Some solid materials that were prepared for application in various fields are superconductors such as intercalation compounds, ceramics, synthetic biopolymers, and carbon nanotubes. Hence, the study of the structures of solids has immense significance in science and technology. Based on the arrangement of the constituent particles, solids are broadly classified into two categories. They are crystalline solids and amorphous solids. First of all, crystalline solids. These have an orderly arrangement of their constituent particles such as atoms, ions, or molecules in three dimensions. They are arranged in an orderly manner to give a definite geometry to the crystal. Thus, a crystal is defined as a solid figure that has a definite geometrical shape with flat faces and sharp edges. For example, quartz and sodium chloride are crystalline solids. The second type of solids is amorphous solids. The term amorphous has been derived from a Greek word omorphi, which means shapeless. An amorphous solid consists of a number of constituent particles arranged in a random manner. Thus, amorphous solids not have any definite geometry. There is a short range order, which means there is an irregular arrangement of particles that repeats itself to the certain extent only. These solids resemble liquids. They flow very slowly at room temperature, but there is no regularity in the structure. The flow of these solids is clearly observed in glass fixed in windows or doors of old buildings. These are found to be slightly thicker at the bottom than at the top due to its fluid nature. The best example of crystalline solid is quartz and amorphous solid is quartz glass, but both the solids are similar in arrangement. However, in a quartz glass there is a short range order which is known as isotropy. A crystalline solid has a sharp melting point. These are considered as true solids. Amorphous solids do not have a sharp melting point and can be molded into various shapes. These solids behave as crystalline solids at certain temperature. These are considered as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. crystalline solids are in anisotropic nature, whereas amorphous solids are in isotropic nature. Types of crystalline solids. On the basis of the types of forces and holding in the constituent particles together, crystalline solids are broadly classified into molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, and covalent or network solids. At first, molecular solids. Let us begin our discussion with molecular solids. The constituent particles are either atoms or molecules. The atoms or molecules are held together by weak forces of attraction. Further, on the basis of the nature of the intermolecular forces of attraction, molecular solids are classified into non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. At first, non-polar molecular solids. The constituent particles are atoms or the molecules. Atoms or molecules in these solids are held together by weak dispersion or London forces. As a consequence, these molecules have low melting and boiling points. Hence, most of them are liquids or gases at room temperature and normal atmospheric pressure. For the same reason, they are soft. As the electrons remains localized to a particular atoms or bonds, these are non-conductors of electricity. Second one, polar molecular solids. In polar molecular solids, the constituent particles, molecules are bounded by polar covalent bonds. Solid SO2 and solid HOCl are some polar molecular solids. These molecules and polar molecular solids are held together by relatively stronger dipole-dipole interactions. As a consequence, these solids have a relatively high melting point and boiling points. However, these are usually gases or liquids at room temperature and normal atmospheric pressure. Like non-polar molecular solids, these are also soft and non-conductors of electricity. Hydrogen bonded molecular solids. In hydrogen bonded molecular solids, like polar molecules, solids that they contain particles, molecules are formed by the polar covalent bonds. However, the bonded atoms in these molecules are essentially hydrogen and highly electronegative atom such as fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen. Ice and solid hydrogen fluoride are two examples of hydrogen bonded molecular solids. These molecules in these solids are held together by strong force of attraction called hydrogen bonds. As a consequence, these solids are held together by strong force of attraction called hydrogen bonds. Like other two types of molecular solids, these solids are also non-conductors of electricity at room temperature and normal atmospheric pressure. These are either soft solids or highly volatile liquids. So, finally, molecular solids are nonpolar, polar, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Particularly, nonpolar molecular solids are soft in nature and they are act like insulators, whereas polar molecular solids are soft and they are also insulators. Hydrogen bonded molecular solids are hard as well as insulators of electricity. Non-polar molecular solids are having very low melting point due to intermolecular forces, that is weak dispersion or London forces. Example, CCl4, H2 and CO2. Molecular solids are having low melting points due to intermolecular forces, that is dipole-dipole interaction. Example, HCl and SO2. Whereas hydrogen bonded molecular solids are also having low melting point because here intermolecular forces are hydrogen bonding, and the example is water molecule. Ionic solids. These solids have the ions as their constituent particles. The Coulombic or electrostatic forces of attraction hold the ions, that is cations and anions, together in the crystal. These cations and anions arranged regularly in three-dimensional space to form ionic solids such as sodium chloride, cesium chloride and zinc sulfide. These solids have high melting and boiling points. This is attributed to the strong electrostatic force of attraction between the cation and the anion. As a result, these solids are also hard but brittle in nature. As the ions are in fixed positions, they are non-conductors of electricity in solid state. However, they are good conductors of electricity in fused or in the aqueous solution. These ions are having freedom of movement of electrons in their fused and aqueous solution. Metallic solids. In metallic solids, the metal atoms such as copper, iron, silver and magnesium lose their valency electrons to the crystal as a whole. These solids are merely the collection of positive ions surrounded by and held together by crystal field electrons. Hence, the constituent particles in a metallic solid are positive ions, in a crystal field localized electrons. The electrostatic force of attraction between the positive ions and the electron cloud constitute the metallic bonding which holds the positive ions together. These electrons are not localized on any atom but delocalized uniformly over the entire crystal. These free and mobile electrons make metallic solids good conductors of electricity and heat. The electrons flow through the network of positive ions when an electric field is applied. Similarly, when heat is supplied to one corner of the metallic solid, the free electrons spread the thermal energy throughout the solid. The presence of free electrons also account for the luster and color in so many cases. Metals are highly malleable and ductile. Metallic solids are having very high melting and boiling points. Covalent or network solids. The other type of crystalline solids is covalent or network solids. The constituent particles of the solids are atoms. These atoms are held together in large network by covalent bonds. This interlocking network of covalent bonds extends throughout the crystal in all directions. Hence, covalent solids are called as network solids. They are also termed as joint molecules. Diamond, graphite and quartz are some network solids as the atoms are held by strong covalent bonds. These solids are very hard and possesses very high melting points. These solids are non-conductors of electricity except for graphite. In diamond, each carbon atom is bonded in tetrahedrally to other 4 carbon atoms. Thus, a regular tetrahedral arrangement of carbon atoms bonded to one and other in a 3-dimensional manner forms a network resulting in a rigid giant molecule. The diamond is the hardest substance and has a melting point of 3550 degrees Celsius. Graphite, on the other hand, exceptionally good conductor of electricity and is extremely soft. In graphite, each carbon atom bonded to 3 other carbon atoms, resulting in hexagonal ring, which when repeated throughout the planar shape or forms layers. In its layered structure, the layers of hexagonal rings are arranged parallel to each other. These layers are held together by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. These layers can slide over one on another when impurities are present between them. On account of this, graphite is soft and can be used as a solid lubricant, as each carbon atom in graphite is bonded to only other 3 carbon atoms, the fourth valency electron is free to move about in different directions. Thus, the free mobile electrons are account for the exceptional electrical conductivity in graphite.
Dear students, hope you have appreciated my presentation. We shall deal with the next video on the same topic in our next session. Thank you.